Time for the big board presented by Bet365. Blake Murphy will be on the radio call for this afternoon's rubber match. He'll have a close eye on Vladimir Guerrero Jr., whose 76 hits are tied for sixth most in the AL, but we're still waiting for that power.
We are only one home run off of an actual pitcher over the last 6 weeks or so. When there is an outage like this, and Vlad's gone through shorter ones before, we can look at three things. The first is something Joe and Caleb have talked about on the broadcast a lot, and that's what are you swinging at? Vlad's chase rate is up lately. That one is pretty straightforward. The second thing is, how often are you hitting the ball hard? We know that Vlad is the StatCast king, everything in the 99th and 100th percentile, bright red on the StatCast page. But you see here a stat called damage percentage. That's from Robert Orr at Baseball Prospectus, and it tries to take your exit velocity, your launch angle, and your direction of hit all together and say, hey, how often should this hit do damage? You see there, since the knee injury that took Vlad out for a couple days on May 6th, his damage percentage has dropped significantly. Not surprising, the ground ball rate also up. Now, the third thing we can look at, and this is where some luck comes in, is when you do rope the ball, where does it go? What happens? You can see here, compared to prior seasons, Vlad's barrels aren't leaving the park as often, and even though the exit velocity and the launch angle are almost identical, they're going about 30 feet shorter. This is one that has me scratching my head. So yes, Vlad could swing at better pitches, Vlad could have a higher damage rate, but sometimes they just don't leave the yard or find a hole.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will be up against John Gray, who had a tough April, but we're seeing the John Gray the Rangers had hoped they would get when they got him.
Rangers making a smart bet saying, hey, the Colorado Rockies probably didn't get the most out of this guy. Let's see if we can. One of the first things they did was get John Gray to throw a sweeper. He already had a very good slider, but now John Gray has a 3 breaking ball mix. He's got a slider, a sweeper, and a curveball. So he's got 3 different movement profiles, 3 different velocities. The slider is still his best out pitch, the one you're going to see the most in 0-2 and 1-2 counts. But those 3 breaking balls together have a 127 opponent batting average, and he'll throw them almost 50% of the time in 0-0 counts. So really, really good at stealing a strike early with those breakers as well.
All right, opponents managing just a 521 OPS since the beginning of last month against John Gray. And that is the big board presented by Bet365. Check out the app for the latest odds.